welcome to my video. I'm going to do a journal flip through for you today. My journal of choice the last few years has been Hobonichi, a combination of Hobonichi cousins, and this one's the notebook, I think. Yeah, notebook, day 3, another cousin, and this is also a notebook. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be flipping through for you today. I'm going to start with this one, which is my most recent one. Yeah, 2021. So let's go through some of the pages, and I'll talk you through my kind of thought processes and materials. So this page kind of really probably sums up my style quite well. I use a combination of materials on most of my pages. I use a lot of watercolours as the sort of initial background layer, and also my pigment powders. A lot of the products you'll see used in here are my own products. Obviously, you know, a bit of a sales pitch, but also I only make products that I want to use. So I genuinely do enjoy using them. I wouldn't make something I didn't want to use. So these are my pigment powders. They are I'll do another whole video about them because they are pretty cool, but they're basically such an easy way to get a background down, because you simply sprinkle a few grains on, spray it with water, and you've got an instant beautiful background that you can either leave as it is, or as I've done here, collage over. So I've used I tend to have like a big box or basket of all my little scraps of collage things, and I tend to dip in there when I want to use collage on the spread, which is often. So I think these were from magazines. This was one of my own like background papers I'd made on Tomorrow River paper, and I've used some silver pen to outline, well, to inline the date and a few accents on here. And this was you can see it, there's shimmering. That was one of my, it's called I think I've got it listed as confetti. It's basically a little pot of beautiful sort of shimmer colour shift flakes that I simply put I think I use matte medium in most of these, matte medium, but you can use PVA or Mod Podge or anything like that. And these were, I think, a combination of things cut out of a magazine and words from a sticker pack. So yeah, I kind of just picked out some words that I wanted that kind of spoke to me in what this journal would be about. So inspire, inspiration, imagine, creating, etc. So here I was. It was a new journal for 2021, obviously, so I'd split my page into home, work, health and happiness, and just picked out some goals that I wanted to work on that year. Again, my pigment powders as a background, and then I think I've done some gold watercolour sprays on the top. They're sort of splatters to give it a bit of shine. I do like using a combination of matte paint and the pigment powders with little accents of watercolour. I've got all my matte colours, well, my sort of selection of my matte colours here, my holographic glitters, and then my metallic colours, shimmer colours here, and metallic colours here. So I tend to use my matte colours as the base, and then go over with the shimmer colours just to add a little bit of something, really. You can see it just shimmering, catching the light. I prefer that than it just being, you know, too obvious. So I've here goodbye 2020, hello 21. Yes, well, obviously 2020 was an extremely difficult year for everyone. So yeah, I'm sure my journal for 2020 reflected that. Here we've got another combination page of watercolour with some pencil drawing, collage again from magazines mostly, I think. And then this one was my own like collage paper I'd created. Some more words. Yeah, I just really enjoy using that mixture. Here is a memory keeping page. I do a mixture of in my journal, like kind of traditional memory keeping with photos, more, you know, sort of goal setting and just sort of general mundane stuff, pouring your heart out stuff on a daily basis or whenever the need takes me. So my little scooter boy, my gorgeous son. Here I was trying something different. I was using my pigment powders, but because this one was quite a dark colour, I was using a white pen over the top. And that was my state stamp, and then gone over with white pen. Stuck down. Now sometimes, some days, you know, there's no need for words. I don't want to write. I just want to put something down on paper so I can just, you know, it's really mindful. It's really therapeutic, I find, just to kind of doodle. And what I do with these pages, often I'll do a background, if I can find one, like this, for example. I'll do a background one day that literally would take less than a minute. This was some ink on my desk, sprayed with water and then splashed around like that. So I'll do a background, and then when I want a doodle day, I'll come back to it. I'll take, you know, normally just a plain black biro pen, and then I can, you know, just doodle away and build the page up like that. So it's not necessarily all done in one go. Sometimes I'll do this when I'm on the phone. Yeah, so black pen and white pen. I have used collage as well. This was a sticker, I think, and then this was my own collage papers from a magazine. So I'll just keep going until the page, you know, seems finished to me. This one was probably one I meant to come back to. It was my pigment powders. I was going through a real phase of using them. A fish that I've actually just noticed I've stuck upside down, but never mind. And then this just keeps swimming. Very apt for, my dog barking, very apt for the current climate, isn't it? Or certainly was at the time, with all lockdowns going on. This was a background page I didn't like, so I've never really come back to it. It just, you know, I was intending to build up layers of collage, but, you know, pages like that, what I would do if I really don't like them, I will either just write over them, you know, as it is, or collage over it. So that was obviously what I intended to do there, but didn't get round to it, or haven't come back to it yet. Then we've got some more sort of just word journaling. This was, again, my combination of my pigment powders, and then for the flowers I've used, you know, watercolour paint in similar tones. And this was a pencil case that I'd bought and a new journal, so I just stuck the packaging and the label in there. More journaling, just, yeah, words. I think this was about lockdown. This was during lockdown, so a lot of it is, yeah, my thoughts on that really. And then just a bit of doodling. This was the background, I think, was inks, my creative inks, pigment powder, and then this green is actually probably leaked through from another page, but I actually quite like it when it does that. That's a good thing about Tomorrow River paper. I mean, this one obviously, you know, is going to be a bit battered, but mostly they can withstand yeah, lots and lots of wet medium. Yeah, I think it's obviously leaked through from here. So this was again, pigment powder, and then I just liked this. This was from a magazine, so I just cut it out. And then I think I was planning on journaling around the edge, but I just think I decided to leave it, or haven't come back to it. Embrace the imperfection of life. It is still a beautiful world. Yes, it is. Now, this was a page that I really didn't like. The idea behind it was I'd stuck washi strips down, little torn off washi, and then used sprays to create, you know, a background that had these gaps in it. And then I was writing in each of those things that I wanted to do with my son when lockdown was over. But I just didn't like the colours for combination, and I just didn't like it, so I never came back to it. Just simple journaling with, you know, a bit of colour down. Sometimes, you know, you haven't got the energy or the inspiration to be particularly artistic, but you can just splash down a bit of colour, and then just use words over it, like normal diary. This one was, I think this one was sort of made from a combination of inks and watercolours and some of the pigment powders, and then some of the shimmer paints over the top. You can see the shine on that one, and then white gel pen to doodle over the top. Similar technique, this one, pigment powders and watercolours, and then some shimmer watercolours, combination of black and white, doodling over the top. And then I think this was just using my brush to, I think I'd started going into this, trying to make it kind of like organic plant looking. This one was watercolour and inks with splatters. If you can see, if it can catch the light, if that's picking it up, splatters of one of my favourite paints that I made. It's opaline, which is a really delicate pink and ivory colour shift. This one is pigment powder background and watercolours with strips of magazine cut out, a few stickers and collage material from my little stash of papers that I've made, and then some doodling. I think, you know, it's okay. I think it hasn't really got anything as a focal point on this page, so I'm not sure it's entirely worked. But, you know, that's a good thing about art journaling, is it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a brilliant piece of artwork or a brilliant, you know, perfect page. Again, this is something I would want to come back to. I think it needs, you know, more contrast of colours. It needs some black, either words or doodling or something. This was inks as the background with some pigment powders. I really was obsessed with these pigment powders. Well, I still am, but yeah, particularly at this stage. And then these were just sort of words cut out of a magazine. I'm not sure if they were all from the same bit. What I tend to do is I'll have, you know, pages from magazines, and then when I'm journaling I can just pick them up and just tear out words that I want, you know, that kind of sum up something of what I'm feeling. So it is a challenge to understand what we can control and what we cannot, and to learn acceptance. Yes, that was a lockdown feeling, most definitely. Missing my old friends. One must be brave to be an artist. Obviously that doesn't relate, but yes. This was from a art journaling magazine, I think. And then some doodling over the top. So with a page like this, I wouldn't necessarily have an intention of what I was going to create when I sat down to journal. I would really just let the colours go with the flow, and then, you know, use the magazines I've got around me as an inspiration, but make it reflect what I'm feeling, if that makes sense. This was pigment powder and ink, and definitely watercolour over the top with some doodling with black and white pen. I think at this time, this was, you know, early, just after Christmas, with the, you know, lots of stressful COVID things going on. So I was quite into mindful doodling, which I kind of think of as really repetitive, so you can really lose yourself in the process. You haven't got to think, You just got to, you know, concentrate on what you're doing, concentrate on your little dots or your circles or whatever. And I find it really therapeutic. Here onto February. So this was using one of my creative kits. The idea behind the creative kit is if you've got everything in there that will coordinate well together. So this confetti was out of the creative kit. It was called Winter Wonderland, so it was all about, you know, the colours of winter landscapes. Yeah. So layering to make a, you know, a title page, and this was one of the collage papers, one of the stickers. I think there's a process video of this on my Instagram. Again, more pigment powders, watercolours, doodles, cutouts from magazines, some drawing. Let me travel. Obviously, I was feeling the need to escape, as we all were there. Got some of the shimmer accents on there as well. Not quite sure what was going on there. I think was probably testing out some colours and thought, oh, I'll come back to that, and didn't. But there you go. Again, this one, I think this was another one where I had lots of paints on my table, and I just, you know, did that and came up with that. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You know, that is definitely a page that just leads itself to journaling over, as does that one. That was the same thing. Combination of matte and some shimmer watercolours there. Pigment powders, simple pigment powders with white pen. Oh dear. Yeah. I think I was experimenting with some acrylic paint there. I don't know. I'm not sure I get on with acrylic paint as well as watercolour. Well, obviously that isn't particularly good, is it? But I think that was something I meant to use as a background and come back to again and collage over. Here we've got definite background of pigment powders. I can tell that that one was I think that one was Old Library or Vintage Library, I think it's called. And then Doodling, again, they're sort of mindful spirals and repetitive patterns, mandala type, abstracting mandalas. And then I've used my holographic watercolours to add little accents there and some splatters. Again, pigment powders and doodling and drawing. That was a stamp. This one was using another one of my creative kits. This one was called, this is called Hope, and it was created at the time when we were in, you know, full swing of lockdown and COVID, and the world was not a very good place. So I wanted to create a kit that was all about positivity and gratitude, and, you know, looking through the clouds to see the, you know, that glimmer of sunshine, that glimmer of hope. Very cliche quote, but, you know, it's true, isn't it? Above the clouds, the sun is always shining. Better days are on their way. And then I use one of the journal cards as a tip-in to journal underneath. So gratitude: when life gives you 100 reasons to cry, show life that you have 1,000 reasons to smile. So just things, simple things that make me smile. And then this was using sort of torn up strips of tissue paper and collage papers with inks over the top, and then the Hope watercolour palette to give it that sort of sunset shimmer. See a page that I had every intention of coming back to and journaling, but I didn't, which is fine. I mean, obviously it's got the date 22, but I could either, you know, I don't have to work chronologically in my journal, so I'd be more than happy on the 22nd of a month to come back and journal over this page. That would not bother me. This one was using pigment powders, and again, this was something cut out of a magazine. All you need is less. I like that. And then this was using part of one of my kits, the Vintage Vibes Creative Kit. Here we've got some watercolour, sort of splodges and circles, and some doodling. Yeah, page to come back to that one. This was using some watercoloured pencils, and then I think when they were wet, what I'd done is I'd, you know, did that to get the mirror image, and then you've gone over one side with the black pen. Journal your creative journey and cherish your life. Some word stickers. Just picked out ones that, you know, reflected what I was feeling at the time or wanted to feel, wanted to express. Then we've got gesso, black gesso with white gel pen over the top, and then this was using watercolour pencils, drawing sort of circles and spirals, and then going over with water afterwards. And then I used some of my holographic paints to add that kind of, I don't know, celestial, spacey type feel, but on a very abstract basis. Doodling, bit of inks. You know, I'm not really into that page, but again, something to come back to. I think they're stuck together. Then this was using one of my creative kits. Again, this was the June creative kit of this year, Meadows. So again, I'd torn strips of it up. This was from the kit, as well as a paper napkin stuck down with matte medium, and then that little shimmer was from the watercolour set. This is actually one of my new ink sprays that's really pretty, green and purple colour shift ink spray. It's from the Enchanted Lake kit, and I think, is there more? I think I have missed, yeah, there's a few more, missed a few pages there. This was using the Vintage Vibes Creative Kit. So lots of collage material in that kit, lots of you know, little bits to tear up and add. This was two serviettes in that one. There was this one, and then this one, the sort of napkin. I really like using napkins in my journal. I use matte medium to paste them down, and then they really blend in with the page, and then you can watercolour over the top of them. And I think that's it for this journal. So I hope you have enjoyed flicking through. Any questions or comments? I'd love to read them and love to comment back to you. Thanks for watching.